YouTube,
Good day.
good morning, good day, good afternoon if you're watching this in the future.
Yes, indeed.
Facebook land
Facebook
and
land
Instagram. We are live
and Instagram.
on all of our
Hey,
platforms here. Hopefully, you guys are doing all right. We have a jam-packed episode for you today. It
Yeah.
might actually run up to the 30-minute mark, but we'll see.
We will do our best.
It's going to be packed full of information, so get out your pencil and paper. But before all that, of course, please like, subscribe, follow, comment, share out.
Yeah, share this with a friend. My voice sounds a little wonky today. Just woke up, but just now talking. But welcome to Cleanse Day in the Holistic Freedom Secrets podcast. This is episode 12. And our topic for today is fasting fundamentals. So this is preparing, timing, and healing for women using the tool of fasting. So this whole episode is basically rooted in not just what we've gained and learned in our own experience using fasting as a tool over the years, but more specifically, we're leveling it up from anything that we've talked about before. Now we're also incorporating some of the wisdom from there's a functional health doctor named Dr. Mindy Pelz, and she's really honed in on this work. She has a great book as well that I highly recommend if you are looking to do anything from, balancing your hormones, figuring out even, if you're postmenopausal, menopausal, perimenopausal, or even just missing your cycle. And that could have been from the tragedy of birth control and all those hormonal contraceptives, or any other sort of thing that could have knocked you out.
Hormones, makeup, whole bunch of stuff.
So today we're diving into the all of that.
Yeah, and before we get started, I do want to just formally say, in a kind of formal manner, this episode is actually dedicated to the work of Dr. Mindy Pelz. So, Ms. Pelz, Dr. Pelz, if you ever see this,
thank you.
First of all, come on the podcast. We would love for you to be able to teach your wisdom out of your mouth, because you're so instrumental in the things that we know and things that Coach Tensi puts into practice now. Oh, our names, by the way, are I'm Coach Soul, S-O-L, not S-O-U-L.
Yes.
This is my wife, Coach Tensi.
I'm Coach Tensi.
We are holistic health practitioners, holistic healers. And we are here to serve you guys. So this episode is dedicated to the work of Dr. Mindy Pelz and, her book, Fast Like a Girl, and all of that. It's great stuff.
I highly, highly, highly recommend that you as well, and I don't get any direct benefit from saying this. I'm not connected to Dr. Mindy Pelz in any formal way. I just love her work, and it's actually been one of the most helpful things, in addition to the herbalism, the plant-based nutrition things that I've learned. It just expands it out and makes it a lot more accessible, and meeting the needs of more people, whether you have an autoimmune condition, whether you are currently trying to reverse a chronic condition that you've been just plagued with for years, or just balance your hormones and find some peace in your mind and your emotions.
Awesome.
So
let's dive right in. I'm not going to do much talking today, as this level of fasting information is known primarily by Coach Tensi, and she uses it pretty much, every day in her life now.
Story, babe. Tell her story.
So I'll start out with a story. I think, last episode we mentioned Mama Peaches, right? And Mama Peaches basically had a moment where she was going through a hard time. Okay, and that hard time was outlined by a cancer scare. So a scare on her life, on her ability to stay breathing for as long as she wanted to. And cancer is not something that, especially if you're as ignorant as we were back then, that you hear and you go, oh, okay, well, we'll take care of it. Okay, all right, well, no big deal. We got Benadryl.
Oh, yes.
We got Robitussin. No, it's something that you hear, and you immediately go into either, hey, we're gonna do this regimen that I already know about, or we're gonna have to dive into the studies and find out what type of regimen we're going to use and what will work. And that was like the scene, right? I had met and befriended Tensi maybe 2.5 weeks before Mama Peaches told her family what was going on.
Yeah.
And so together, this new person in my life, and I'm this new person in her life, we who were about 2.5 hours away from Tensi's family, went into research and dove into, like she said, herbs, fasting, cleansing the body, alkalizing the body, things of this nature, as well as mental and spiritual preparations. And long story short, after about 3 months of the suggestions that we made, and Mama Peach is also doing her own research. She has a background in chemistry. She's an educator, not a teacher. Anyway, she's started doing things that we suggested. She started looking into the things that we suggested to look into. And in about 3 months, her type 2 diabetes was reversed and gone. And then 12 months into implementing strategies, she was cancer free, and she remains cancer free to this day. So
yes,
very, very, very powerful stuff. And it's important to know how to fast. But before you start fasting, you also have to know how to prepare.
Yeah, because the importance of this, and this is so important, even if you don't have something as big as cancer. Like, she had a rare form of cancer. The doctors didn't know what to do, other than.
And I feel like they always say that. Oh, you have a rare form. I don't know what to do with that.
Well, I mean, in my particular case, it's only been like my mom. But with people in your family, it's been like, oh, this is breast cancer, or oh, this is lymphoma, or oh, they had a name for it, but they did not know for my mom. And even if you don't have a rare form of cancer, or type 2 diabetes, if you have any other autoimmune condition, this is going to be super helpful for you. If you have gut issues, this will be super helpful for you. If you are struggling for a weight to release, Facebook is kind of finicky with certain terms like weight related to weight management. But if you have you've just been really struggling with menopausal symptoms, or like brain fog, or hot flashes, or just womb health, the reproductive system been off, like struggling with fertility, or with getting your cycle back, because it is one of our vital signs to know that our body's healthy. Is we need to have a natural healthy cycle. That's just hands down. Or some other reason, it really doesn't matter. If you're just looking to optimize your health, right, and you already fairly good, and you just want to get the most and get all the juice and get all the things out of it and set yourself up for next level health, fasting is going to be so incredible. Because for me, in my own story, I didn't have cancer or diabetes. I had allergies, I had eczema, and I had really bad anxiety, brain fog, PMS, heavy periods. It was crazy. So this was one of the tools that helped me realize, oh my gosh, I know from reading all these books, there's a self-healing mechanism from all these meditations and things. I know how powerful the mind is. I've followed the work of Joe Dispenza and other similar people, Bruce Lipton, in the mind mastery and changing limiting belief sphere, and they all pointed to how our bodies are so powerful on their own if just given the proper environment for it. And sometimes that environment is fasting. So let's talk about we already talked about some of the health benefits of fasting. Let's get into some of the fast types. So if you have been around for any type of time and you've ever gotten curious about fasting, you've probably already heard of some of these types. And we're not going to really dive deeply into them today because honestly, it may not even be helpful for you. But I'm just going to rattle off some types. There's intermittent fasting, there's water fasting, juice fasting. There's really prolonged fasts where you go like days and days and days, or weeks, or even a month or so fasting, like I did an 88-day fast. Hindsight, wouldn't recommend it how I did it. However, there is 1 meal a day. Some of you may have heard of that. People will only eat maybe 1 meal in a day and take it from there. And they call OMAD is the acronym for that. That's popular. There's all sorts of different ways to fast. Fasting in accordance to the moon, fasting in accordance to solstices, and super short fast or super long fast. All right. So the thing about fasting that's so juicy is the healing mechanism that it inspires. That's what everyone's like chasing after with all these types of fasts, right? And that self-healing mechanism, it just really means that your body switches on to I'm gonna start healing your body like a dimmer switch, like a volume knob, or like you turn up the volume or you're turning up the lighting. If you had one of those dimmer lights on your walls, for the lights to kind of slowly turn on. And it's called the super technical word autophagy. Autophagy is kind of like when the cleanup crew comes into your body and it's like, hey, I see, okay, here's some waste, here's some toxins, here's some stuff that's getting in the way of your health goals and it's keeping you from healing. I'm just going to sweep that out and I'm going to create the environment in on a cellular level in every little cell that makes up the organs and the tissues and all the things that make up our body, and just get those out and start to just like be more efficient. It helps reduce inflammation. It helps, and that's just basically when your cells feel like they're on fire. Oh my God! Well, let's seal this off. If it's chaotic, if it's waste, if it's toxic, we don't know what to do with it. Just store it as fat. Just store it as fat. Okay, fat around the midsection, around all the different places in the body that you see, but also in the organs. And sometimes we can be skinny like this and still have fatty liver, still have fat in our organs, which is the most dangerous. So just because it's not a gauge on how healthy we are based on how we look on the outside. Because that would be a lie, like judging a book by its cover. No.
A lot of skinny people that are addicted to very, very, very processed foods will have heart attacks and be skinny.
Yes, and we've seen that even more after 2020. Okay, y'all.
So very, very important, as Coach Tensi was elucidating for us, that some of the benefits, some of the methodology, and some of the different names and approaches for fasting, because now we're going to get into how to properly prepare for fasting. And the first thing that we wanted to cover was mental preparation. Okay, how to mentally prepare for fasting in short. And of course, there are different strokes for different folks, but it definitely involves setting clear intentions for what you're seeking to do. So you don't want to fast because social media said, oh, this might help, right? You don't want to fast because, oh, I had this set of symptoms and I just want to try it haphazardly without looking into anything and just go. No, setting a clear intention for what your goals are, what your sort of desired approach will be, what your aim is. This is a part of mentally preparing for fasting. And then looking into what the benefits are or should be for that approach that you're going to take, for that approach that you're intending to implement for your fasting schedule, so that you can know pretty quickly by just listening to your body if something is going amiss, if something is not, if your body is not responding the correct way, so you can go and talk to somebody about it. And another way that I want to talk about mental preparation is the aspect of B in our 5-prong healing system, meaning preparing yourself by fasting from technology, preparing yourself by fasting from overthinking, meaning you can, if overthinking comes to visit, you can observe it, but you can't participate. And just say, I have a really jumpy mind, and I just have to watch it. I can't really respond right now. This sort of connection to your inner being will also help prepare you for the fast, because what fasting will do emotionally is bring up, as Tensi said, the cleaning agents will come in, they'll put on their special goggles and be able to see where all of the gunk and junk and parasites and waste is, where it's not supposed to be, all throughout your body and all throughout your very, very super small blood vessels and all of those things. But they'll come in and they'll sweep all of that stuff out, and that will cause emotional and hormonal responses within your body. You want to be able to remain present with yourself and know that this is, a potential positive, yet sometimes wonky side effect of proper fasting.
Yes.
So that's how you mentally, some of the things you mentally prepare.
I think that was important to mention. Absolutely. And here's something to understand, because fasting is a great tool for some, but it's not for others. If you are pregnant, fasting is not your jam. Don't be fasting. If you're nursing, we can't fast more than, say, 15 hours in a given day. And I'll get into what that means. It's not just as simple as not eating, because you can still have eaten a little bit and still be in a fasting mode. If you're in a fasting mode more than 15 hours, even if you nibble on something, then you are potentially, if you're pregnant or nursing, going to do damage to your baby, because you're passing on all the waste, all the toxins straight through the blood, straight through the breast milk to the baby. And we don't want that. We want to give the best. We want to give the best to the baby. So there's other things for that we won't cover in this episode, but just know that you can still apply some of the preparation things. But just, keeping that in mind. If you're pregnant, no fasting. So don't take it to 13 hours and beyond. Don't. And if you have an eating disorder, this is really important to talk about. You have to have a team of your medical care team and your mental care team, your health coach, you have to be surrounded by your positive health crew in order to help support you along the way. You can use fasting as a tool, but there's a big old disclaimer, because it's so easy to get back into habits that aren't helpful if you're trying to do it alone.
Absolutely.
So there's a hormonal hierarchy. This is important for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a man or if you're a woman. This particular piece affects every single one. It just affects women differently. It affects us over a monthly cycle, versus for men, it's in a 24-hour cycle that they kind of get these hormones. So here's a hormonal hierarchy, and here's where fasting is going to fit in to helping with that. So when it comes to our hormones, there's there's a hierarchy. Don't think of it as like a pyramid. Think of it as like this regulates this underneath. 1 regulates 2, 2 regulates 3, 3 regulates 4. Okay, that's how I want you to think of it, top to bottom. And there are 4 things, and I'm just going to name them real quick, and then I'm going to talk through kind of really quickly what they do, how they like, and that such thing. So up top, number 1, regulates everything below is oxytocin. Number 2, cortisol is regulated by oxytocin. Number 3, insulin, which is regulated by cortisol. And then at the bottom are the sex hormones. So the main one for men is testosterone, but they also have estrogen and progesterone, but they're not as big as importance. And for us women, it is all 3 that are important: progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone. And it affects everything in terms of our health. If these are out of whack, if any of these are out of whack. So oxytocin is that love hormone. It's the bonding. It's a connection. That's number 1. And if we get that straight, then we are good. So the cuddling, the laughter, the meditation, the self massage, all of those things help in meaningful, connective conversations with people. Being in the space of good energy, all of that helps.
Hanging out with your pet.
Cuddling with your dog, playing with your dog, playing with your kids, your baby. All of that gives oxytocin. It helps regulate everything below. Now, the thing is, cortisol up under them 2. Cortisol is popped out of regulation because it's related to stress. So if we're in chronic stress, whether it's from work and we're in this fight, flight, freeze constantly, or if it's traffic that triggers it for you, or hard conversation with family, friends, or arguments, or whatever it is, if you're constantly in this state of stress, which can also be from really hard workouts. Mm-hmm. So if you're in the high intensity, you come into breathing heavy and you're sweating, which is great sometimes, but not all the time in the cycle, and we'll get into that, then your cortisol level's too high. They're going to mess up everything below. So your blood sugar is going to be out of whack, which is related to number 3, insulin. And your sex hormones are going to be out of whack. Insulin is that hormone that helps, it'll take the natural sugars or the processed sugars from the things that we are eating, something called glucose. It's kind of like everything is broken down into this thing, and it's the sugar bar, all right? And it's going to either, clean it out or, take it where it needs to go so it can be used. If it's in excess, that's when we have diabetes. When there's excess sugar in the brain, there's things like MS or Parkinson's or whatever starts to appear, where there's excess sugar in the body. That's kind of like excess glucose in the body. That is where we're seeing a lot of the dis-ease and a lot of the stubborn fat, right, as well. So we need to get that in order, because blood sugar is going change all the things. And then right up under is sex hormones. That's progesterone, which for women, progesterone helps to create and build the, it's like the mama hormone. And some things that we need in order to support progesterone are completely different from the things that are needed to support estrogen. They live like think of them as 2 different people, and they have different lifestyles that they live.
Different cultures.
Different ways of being, kind of like twins. And progesterone is like the introverted twin. She likes to chill. She likes to be nurtured. She likes to be nourished. She can't handle stress much. So as soon as stress be popping into her life, whether it's from a heavy workout, she's like the yoga vibe. She's the walking vibe. She's the meditation vibe. And she needs that comfort food. So she needs like those healthy carbs. She's cool with insulin being a little higher, but not spiking up and crazy. Okay. Now, on the other hand, estrogen, she's the outgoing system. She's that twin that's like, after school, I'm bringing all my friends over. We're going to hang out. We're going to talk. We're going to be all lively and stuff. She needs our blood sugar to be really sensitive. And that means that insulin's not jumping around all crazy. So she loves the low carb. She loves the high fat because that helps stabilize things for blood sugar. She loves to hang out. She's more when we find ourselves more social, more talkative, she's popping. She's on and popping. Okay. She also loves to fast. She loves to like get into cardio and things like that, like we talked about in the Move episode. So when she's around, that's when we experience things like
she again is estrogen. The first she was progesterone. She right now is estrogen. I just want to keep saying she, so I don't want them to forget.
Yes. So some of the things about estrogen is when she's around, it's great. She brings like those neurotransmitters, which are like mind chemicals that are naturally made by your body to help support feeling good and all the things. But when she's not around, that's when we struggle with weight release. We struggle with our blood sugar. We struggle with bloating or trouble focusing, brain fog. All of that is when she's not really around. So we need to get her back into gear. We need to support her. The best timing to support estrogen is in the first phase and the third phase of the cycle. So in the first and third phase is day 1 through day 10. And day 1 is like when we start bleeding, if you have your cycle. So day 1 through day 10 is phase 1. And that is when we need to get into building up estrogen. So there's many different foods and different ways to get into. She loves when you eat your greens. She loves when you add in extra minerals. So get your herb teas out extra at this time. Things like sea moss, she loves it. Things that have zinc, so that's your sea moss, that's your elderberry, that's different herbs like that. She loves flax seeds, but this is just to support her in preparation. So these are things that you're going to need to add in order to prepare to support her in whenever you are preparing for a fast. Now, on the other hand, if you're noticing anxiety or really bad PMS symptoms or a lot of spotting or heavy periods, you can't sleep right, you waking up all odd hours of night, you can't fall asleep easy, when you're noticing hair loss like alopecia or anything else like that, or hair growing in places that you don't want it to, that is when progesterone's out of whack, and that's in phases 2 and 3. So phase 2 is like when you would be ovulating, and that tends to be around day 11 to 15 or day 20 to 30. It would be when you need to focus on progesterone. Sister girl, progesterone needs your help. Okay, she's phoning home because she needs, on the other hand, for you to have more focus on nourishing yourself, things that will help balance your hormones, magnesium, so from pumpkin seeds. These are some nutritional things that can help support you. Adding in good sources of fats like avocados too will help support both. The thing is that she can't do low carb. So if you're trying to stay with low carb and keto and all of that, it's not going to be helpful for her. She needs nature's carbs.
Yeah. So in regard to fasting, phases 1 and 3, you can do similar things. And I guess phase 2 and 3, you want to pay really close. 2 and 4. Okay. You want to pay really close attention to the wonky experiences that sometimes progesterone can be related to.
Yeah, so phases 2 and 3, you nurture yourself, you're not fasting. Phases 2 and 4, the even numbers. Okay, mm-hmm. That's
nurture
where
yourself.
You're nurturing yourself and not fasting. If you're in phase 1 and 3, starting when your bleed starts, if you have your cycle, or if you don't have a cycle, starting with the new moon, that's when you can fast. You can get into longer fasts because that's when your hormones are the lowest. When your hormones are low, then you know that when when that cell cleanup mechanism, self-healing mechanism comes in, you're not going to overload your body because it will take the excess hormones, it'll take the excess everything, toxins, all of that sort, and it'll store it as fat in between your organs, which is most dangerous, or around the body. So that is the timing. So when you time your fast, you don't go the whole month and try and fast the whole time. That's how you mess up your body. And it'll start to show over the months, over the years. But instead, what you need to do is only fast phase 1 or phase 3. So that would be one indication if you do have a regular cycle, even if it's kind of wonky, if you do still have your bleed, then that would be before ovulation and right after ovulation. But that week before your cycle starts again, no fasting whatsoever. Don't do it. Don't do it. Now, when you're ovulating, you can only go up to 15 hours, just like if you were nursing. You can't go past that. All right? That's just some things to know. Now, here's 3 things that you need to keep in mind when you're preparing your body. You need to avoid certain foods. Those foods to avoid are the inflammatory oils. So these are the bad oils. They will cause your heart health to tank. Every aspect of your bodily systems will start to tank, and you'll notice the effects in your body down the line. But these harmful oils are the ones covered in episode 3. So that's everything from canola oil, vegetable oil, corn oil, soybean oil,
sunflower, safflower oil.
Yes, that's a new sneaky one. Sunflower and safflower oil, partially hydrogenized oil, so any margarines, the vegan butters, all of those tend to have harmful oils in them. So we got to watch out. Next to avoid is refined sugars and flours. So that's your breads, your cakes, your cookies, your pastas. That's the wheat. That's the white flours. That's semolina. That's the everything that the sugar replacements, those artificial sweeteners and things like that are also things with chemical names are the 3rd things to avoid.
Yep.
So anything to where you sorbitol, and when it comes to high fructose corn syrup, these are non-negotiables, okay? Because they will mess up your body. So we're avoiding these foods. We're starting to eliminate them. And if they're in your home, take them out your home. If you have them in your office, take them out your office. If you see colors in your ingredient list, color number yada yada, red number 5, yellow number yada yada, don't do it. That's one of the chemicals. Natural flavors, artificial flavors, don't do it. If you see Splenda, NutraSweet, or any sort of these things that they tote as healthy alternatives to sugar, don't do it.
And they're sneaky, right? Just remember, they will put stuff like organic natural flavors, which doesn't mean anything.
Even here, trying to limit things like honey or things that have a higher glycemic index.
Yeah, spiky glycemic index.
So that's the first step of preparing the body when it comes to things to avoid. Things to add in. You have to make sure that you're adding certain things in, like fats,
avocado, coconut oil,
olive oil, flaxseed oil, MTC oil, pumpkin seed oil, organic grass-fed butter is one example if you're not vegan. Nut butters, especially if you can find it raw. No additives, it's just the nuts.
Yep.
And that's it.
Almond butter.
So almond butter, not the peanut butter if you can help it. Olives, as long as they don't just have table salt in the ingredients, it'll just say salt, not that one. Avocados. Any meal you can add in avocado, you can add it in a smoothie, you can add it in. Other thing you have to make sure you're adding in is good protein. Of course, you need fiber, but you need to make sure that you're adding in good protein. So that would be, if you're plant-based, lentils, quinoa, chickpeas, pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds, chia seeds. A lot of these seeds are especially great kept raw, so you add them in your smoothies. And on the other hand, with the other grains like quinoa, even brown rice, black rice, red rice, those are best if they are more so, in your lunch and your dinner type thing. Or, yeah. And now for the last bit would be compressing your eating window. So that is.
Oh, well, real quick. Sorry.
Okay.
And if you're not vegetarian, then making sure the quality of the meat that you're getting, first of all, that you're eating whole foods and it's not just processed, put together, all different parts of the cow, all different parts of the chicken, chicken nuggets or whatever.
Yeah.
Not that.
Not
but
any of that.
Not non-processed,
Organic.
pasture raised or like looking for the types of labeling that means this is high quality meat and the animal in their death was respected, and in their life was happy. That type of labeling. And if you don't know how to find that, we'll cover that in a future episode.
Yeah. Real quick, farmers market, look for a local farm or farmers market that you can travel to.
Yeah, and ask questions. How are these animals, during their life?
Or, certain grocery stores, health food stores. But yes, and then the third thing to look out for is compressing the eating window. So that means that you need to eventually work your way up to 13 hours to where you're not eating anything. So you can have your tea, you can have your water, absolutely have your water and your tea, but you're not eating anything. So that would mean that you can either, if you struggle to get to even 12 hours, and that's just across the board, everyone can go 12 hours safely and with no eating in order to support digestion. However, if you struggle to get there, then just every 2 days, put your and gauge it to what meal of the day is most important to you. If breakfast is most important to you, just push your dinner up. Push your dinner up an hour every 2 days. Or if dinner is most important to you, then push breakfast back an hour every 2 days until you can get comfortably to 13 hours of not eating.
And don't eat dinner right before you go to sleep, regardless.
Yeah, give yourself at least 4 hours before you
go to sleep
to eat dinner, regardless of whichever one. If lunch is more important to you, then bring your breakfast back even further so that it's closer to lunchtime, and that be the first meal of your day, right? So this is how we gauge it according to your lifestyle, because everyone's going to be different. Everyone has a different cycle. Everyone has different time that they might be ovulating. Everyone has different circumstances and things that are going on with their bodies. And so this is what we focus on in order to help us. And that's really all that we have time for today.
Yeah, we ran up on 40 minutes, not just 30.
Whew.
But very, very juicy episode that we have for you. We will be going over this, especially when it comes to the phases of the cycle and timing fasting and timing cleanses and things like that, over and over and over through this podcast, through the cleanse and fuel episodes, because it's very important. And the nature of our world is that most of the doctors don't know, most of the fitness coaches don't know, most of the overall health coaches don't know. We didn't know, now we know, so we're giving it to you. You take this information, look into it yourself. Again, great place to start. Dr. Mindy Pelz. This episode is dedicated to you and her.
Check out her YouTube channel. Great videos on there.
Yeah, huge plethora of free resources. Let me just real quick. And I lost the train of thought. Go ahead.
Yeah. Check out her book. Get it. Listen to it. That's the way that I recommend, so that we can get through the information, so that you can at least get it once.
Fast like a girl.
Fast like a girl. I get it on Amazon, and it comes with a PDF that has recipes. It has all the protocols for different autoimmune conditions, for infertility, for every little thing you can possibly think of connected to fasting. It's a phenomenal resource. And let us know in the chat, what was one tip that piqued your interest from today's episode that you're thinking that you can apply or that was interesting to you, put it in the comments so that we can all share together and be in community together.
And then I wanted to hear more about, and finish that sentence down.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, comment, hit the notifications and share out. Like, subscribe, comment, notify, and share so that we know that you like what we're covering, so that the algorithm knows more people should see it, and so that the algorithm knows that you want to see more of it. Love you guys so very much. Thank you all for coming to this episode of the Holistic Freedom Secrets Podcast, episode 12. We will see y'all tomorrow.
Yes. Take good care, loves.